All right, Nick, it's time to talk about Ohio State. No, we're not talking about the college football playoff. We're talking about a little bit further past that, Nick, into next season and some big time news in the recruiting world. Ohio State already making noise, but that is no surprise to anybody because they're master recruiters down there. Who wouldn't want to go to a championship pedigree program like Ohio State? But, Nick, Ohio State, great season, made to the college football playoff. Who knows how far they're going to go? But they've had a ton of great moments, and that's all we got to ask the fans. What has been your favorite moment of the season so far? Let us know in the comments below. But Nick, nonetheless, let's get into what is this big-time recruiting news for Ohio State.
Yeah, so let's start here first. So according to the Cleveland Plain Dealer, Ohio State football's 2024 class has continued to get off to a strong start, and that continues with the commitment of none other than Jeremiah Smith of Chaminade Madonna Prep in Florida. The nation's number two overall, and top wide receiver chose the Buckeyes over 30 other schools, with Alabama, Miami, and USC also emerging as true contenders. He's the third player they've landed from the Florida high school in the Ryan Day era. So this, again, is a big-time recruiting thing, getting Jeremiah Smith. The report goes on to say this also continues to run success at wide receiver recruiting. Florida as the second straight year Ohio State's landed a five-star from the state. Brandon Innis serves as such in the 2023 class. So, again, Florida's Ohio State, led by Brian Hartline as wide receiver coach, and Ryan Day, of course, as the head coach. They know how to recruit Florida. That's huge to recruit there. They've got the speed and athleticism. This is an absolutely massive recruiting deal for Ohio State. Obviously, they know how to recruit receivers. They know how to coach receivers. They know how to develop receivers. And frankly, they know how to play receivers. They are always stacked at receiver. Marvin Harrison Jr., you go back a few years, Olave, Garrett Wilson, Smith and Jabba. They got talent everywhere. And that's exactly how Ohio State likes to play. They remind me a lot of Alabama. They get smart, intelligent, accurate quarterbacks, and they just surround them with an army of weapons, and they just blow the brakes off everybody. In Ohio State, of course, led by Ryan Day, is not stopping anytime soon, and this commitment from Smith is a sure indicator of that. What do you think of this commitment? What do you think of Ohio State in general and just offensively and their long-term success?
Well, Nick, when I look at Ohio State, I look at the wide receiver department, and if I put myself in the shoes of some of these young wide receivers, why would you not want to go to Ohio State, especially if you have a pedigree of this young man and Jeremiah Smith being the top wide receiver in the country and one of the top players in the country at that point of the 2024 class? So, Nick, you look at Ohio State, they've had multiple first-round draft receivers who not only were selected in the first round, Nick, but go on to be successful in the NFL. You look at Garrett Wilson, you look at Chris Olave, both doing very well respectively so far on their teams. And you are a guy like Smith, you go, hey, look, this is a program who knows how to develop receivers and get them to the next level. And why is that, Nick? None other than Brian Hartline, a great, I'd say he's a decent level NFL receiver for the Dolphins, the Browns. He had a couple really good years there. He was a guy that knows what it takes to play in the NFL. He knows good wide receiver play. So not only can he find these guys, but he can show them the path to get to the NFL. And I think, the way that college football is going with NIL, all those kind of things, that is what you want to do. Get yourself in a top-tier program that knows how to develop your position and get you that path to the draft, Nick.
Oh, 100%. If you're a wide receiver and you want to get that path to the draft, you need a smart, accurate, quality quarterback. Ohio State's been great at getting those guys. And the other news we want to talk about is another commitment. According to Buckeyes Now, as part of Fan Nation, Keane Holtz commits to Ohio State as part of the 2023 recruiting class. Keane Holtz is from Pierre T.F. Riggs High School. That's in South Dakota. He was a four-star recruit previously committed to Washington. This is obviously a big flip for Ohio State, getting a smart, talented quarterback in that class. Obviously, Ohio State is big on getting accurate guys. Keane Holtz looks like he's an accurate guy, a smart guy. I think he'll fit in eventually and work his way either as a strong backup or a starter. But again, it just fits the mold, right? You bring in great quarterbacks, you bring in talented receivers, you coach them up, you develop them up, you put them in a high-flying offense like Ryan Day likes to run. You score a bunch of points. These guys go to the NFL. You bring in the next tier. Wash, rinse, repeat. Like, they just do this all the time. And the model is there for Ohio State, and they continue to prove it year in and year out through these recruiting cycles. This Ohio State team, I know they've lost to Michigan this year, 11-1. We'll see how the playoff shakes out against Georgia. Very similar to Alabama in the regards they are not going to be out of the college football playoff contention anytime soon, whether it's next year, the year after that, or the year after that. The model is there for this team. They're sticking to it, and they're going to continue to be dangerous.